What up, mathletes? Whoop, whoop. All right. Why my microphone's all open in the background? Looking for my hat. We are on Math 1 2.2, solving one-step equations. Your learning target today is I will solve equations using plus, minus, multiply, and divide. I guess you could have said addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. That sounds better. Go ahead and take a minute, read through this problem. See if you can come up with a good solution to it. All right, I'm assuming you paused it, you did the thing. I'm not going to wait too long on any of this. So a veterinary needs to know the weight of Zoe's dog to give him the correct amount of medicine. The dog is scared and also sick, so it will not sit on the scale. Then Zoe holds her dog while standing on the scale, and their total weight is 171 pounds. What can she do to find the dog's weight? Well, if she stood on holding the dog, she just needs to set the dog down, stand back on it, and subtract her weight from it. So I'm going to put that right back up here. I'm going to replace this paper with 1. I've already filled in for this. Why? Because I've written a lot down. It even got the vocab on here. But that's all she needs to do. She needs to stand back up there, step on the scale without the dog, subtract the totals. That's it. Boom. That's problem solving. Go ahead, write down this vocab right here. I think I wrote it well enough you can read it. It's the process. Solving an equation is the process of finding all the values of a variable that make the equation a true statement. For us, most of the time, that's 1, but you'll find out later in life that there's many times where there's multiple solutions that work. A solution is a value that makes an equation true, right? And equivalent equations, 2 equations with the same solution, okay? So when we tell you 2 angles are equal to each other and they have different equations for the angles, you can set them equal to each other and solve for the variable. All right, we're going to get into some properties of equality. Now, here was what I want to tell you before you write this down. Let's just write down up top here. I think this would be better. For any real, I dropped my A, numbers A, B, and C. So where you see me write that twice, don't write that, just write the second line. So in the addition property of equality, again, for any real numbers A, B, and C, if A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C. In other words, if the numbers are the same, then if I add the same thing to both sides, they're still balanced, right? They're still the same. We see that right here. 12 equals 12. Those are the same number. Add 4 to both sides. They become 16 equals 16. It's the same. Even works with negative numbers and adding. Same deal for subtraction. If A equals B, then I wrote plus. This should be minus. Editing on the error, right? A minus B equals B minus C. So in other words, this one, 48 equals 48. 48 minus 9 equals 48 minus 9. 39 equals 39. Boom. And same thing over here again. Go ahead and write these down. Pause this. And I'm moving on. Now, I'm only going to do this once. You guys are going to decide which method you like better. I generally do vertical. However, I want to show you both ways so you can see it in action. There's 2 different ways of solving an equation. There's the horizontal and the vertical. And all it means is this. If I'm going to solve this horizontally, normally what do? G minus 25 equals 113. We do the opposite. We want to add 25 to both sides. So to do it horizontally, I'd say G minus 25 plus 25 equals 113 plus 25. Some people like to solve it this way. Those cross out. I'm left with G equals, it's 113 plus 25, 138. Looks right. If I were to solve this vertically, I would just go plus 25 plus 25. That's gone. G equals 5 is 8, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 1. And I would get the same answer. These are the difference. Whichever method you like is fine. I'm going to do one more that requires subtraction so you can see it. So right here I have 27 plus k equals 30. So I'm just going to say, all right, 27 minus 27 plus k equals 30 minus 27. Those cross out. I'm left with k equals, that's 3. Boom. Over here, same deal. Minus 27 minus 27. That's gone. K equals 3. Same. Okay? That's the difference between horizontal and vertical. At times it'll speak about it in the lessons or maybe the problems. I just need you to know what that means. You may always choose how you want to solve it, unless it's like one of those multiple choice picks, then you just got to choose the one that fits the situation. Okay, let's go. Let's talk about some buildings, defining some variables. So we talked about how to work some problems last lesson, how to define variables and all that, but let's look. The Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building are two of the tallest buildings in New York City. The Empire State Building is 204 feet taller than the Chrysler Building. If the Empire State Building is 1,250 feet tall, write and solve an equation to find the height of the Chrysler Building. But what's the building we're trying to find? We're trying to find the height of the Chrysler Building. So that's my variable. I'm going to let C equal the Chrysler Building height. And what do I know? I know that the Empire State Building is means equals, right? Is equal to the height of the Chrysler Building plus 204 feet. Here's what else I know. I know that that should be 1,250 feet tall. So now I have my equation. C plus 204 equals 1,250. To solve it, we just subtract 204 from both sides. And I get that the height of the Chrysler Building is equal to 1,046 feet. Again, we have to have a word answer. So I'm going to say Chrysler Building is 1,046 feet tall. Boom. That is my answer. All right. It's time for good stuff right here. Now, I've got just a couple more things for you to write. And again, we already wrote it on back for any real numbers, A, B, and C. Just let this be the truth. That's why you see where I put the quotation marks right there. You'll see in just a second. Where I put the quotation marks, that's just the for any real numbers, A, B, and C. If A equals B, then A times C equals B times C. So in other words, if X equals 3, I'm going to multiply 8 times X on this side, 8 times 3 on this side, and I get 8X equals 24. Which is true, because what's 8 times 3? It's 24. Or, over here, if A equals B, and C does not equal 0, then A over C. So dividing by the same number is the same. Now, why do I have to say does not equal 0? Because in math, you can have 0 on the numerator, but you cannot have 0 on the denominator. It's a hole in math. It doesn't work. The world implodes. We all blow up. All right. So in other words, if X equals negative 35, X divided by 7 equals negative 35 divided by 7, which is equal to negative 5. Boosh. So X over 7 equals negative 5 is what we would write. Okay? All right, so let's use this information. You actually have been doing a lot of this already. We're just giving you properties to go with it. But let's use this to solve some good math questions right here. So take a minute. I would say attempt all these that you can. Pause this, and I'm going to come and go back through them real quick. Assuming you're pausing it now. Good stuff. Okay. Remember the whole multiplicative inverse? Boom. If I want to get rid of 3/8, then I'm going to multiply both sides by 8/3. Because this is multiplication, right? So I'm going to multiply everything by 8/3. Those cross out to 1. I'm left with X equals. And then let's look crossways here. Now, guys, you can do this one of two ways. I like to cross cancel. If you want to go, hey, 8 times 9 is 72 over 12 and simplify it that way. I think that's harder, but go ahead. Because, I don't know, I'm going to look at that and be like, 4 goes into that. Goes into that 3 times. 4 goes into that, I don't know, once, leaves 32. which is 8. 18. Oh, wait, 3 goes into 3 once, goes into 18. 6 times, right? Yeah. So this equals 6. Boom. I don't like doing it that way. I like going this way. What goes into both 4 and 8? 4 does. 4 goes into 4 once, goes into 8 twice. How about 9 and 3? 3 goes into 3 once, goes into 9 3 times. And I'm left with 3 times 2 is 6. Some of you are going to say, that's 6 over 1. What is 6 over 1? It's just 6. There's that one. Started with fractions. I know. They're every day now. Right here. To undo multiplication, we divide. Divide by 6. And I get that t, because that crosses out. That's a terrible t. My goodness. Equals, what's 78 divided by 6? I don't know. It goes in there once. 3 times 13. There we go. T equals 13. This is very similar to the first problem. It's just we have d on the other side. By the way, if you ever don't like this, guess what you can do? Just rewrite the whole thing. 4/3 d equals 24. I can switch sides like that. No problem. As long as I flip everything over, I'm good. But I'm going to multiply both sides times the multiplicative inverse to get rid of this. I've got 3/4. That's over 1. Let's cross out to be 1. I'm left with d equals, let's see, 4 goes into 4 once, goes into 24 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Boom. Kenji took a survey of the sophomore class. If 96 sophomores, or 2/3 of the class, say they were going to the football game on Saturday, how many sophomores were in the survey? Well, I'm going to let x equal sophomores. And if that's true, I know that 2/3 times x should equal 96. So again, multiplicative inverse, 3/2 times 3/2 all over 1. 2 goes in there once, goes into 96. 45 plus 3, 48 times. 48 times 3 is what? 120 plus 24, 144. There are 144 sophomores in the class. Or just 144 sophomores. Period. Boom. And then last but not least, again, I'm assuming you're pausing as we go to try these out and then to write down things if you need to. Stephen is saving to buy a new television. If he has saved $1,400 or 4/5 of the total cost of the television, what is the price of the television? Well, let X equal cost of TV. So then I know that 4/5 of that cost, 4/5 times X, remember 4/5 of is multiply. 4/5 X equals 1,400. Which means I'm going to divide both sides, or I'm going to multiply both sides by the multiplicative inverse, which is 5/4. Keep saying that so you learn it. That crosses out. 5/4. Put this over 1. See, 4 goes into 4 once. Actually, here's what I do the easy way. 2 goes into 4 twice, goes into 1,400 700 times. And 2 goes into 2 once, goes into 700 350 times. You could have done 4 into there and figured that out, but for me, it was easier to half it twice. And then 5 times 350, well, 5 times 300 is 1,500. 5 times 50 is 250, so this equals 1,750. The TV is $1,750. Boom! Good lesson. With that said, peace out, peeps.